Hello, my name is Omar Regalado and this is the Holy Human Project, and today we will be covering the layer of the soul. If you have been following the series on the channel, we have been covering the core foundational layers that make up the Holy Human Project as a framing lens to make up all the elements that compose your life, and how these layers basically create what I call the ecology of the invisible, and all these factors, forces, and different aspects of your life are connected within, and so the whole idea is for you to have a map. And so today we will be covering one of these core layers, and it's the layer of the soul. And so usually we perceive or we name this layer with various names. So spirituality is one of them, and overall, I think that this can be a very confusing layer. I think that we have been led to different paths and different understanding of this layer through religion, different people that we've met maybe, or authors that we've read, or experiences that we've had, or maybe just even disappointments that we've experienced throughout our life. So overall, we usually fall into like two extremes. Either we completely neglect and not even believe in the reality of the soul or spirit, or we actually do, but sometimes can't really connect the dots and then bring that in a coherent perspective with everything else. So this is where the Holy Human Project aims to bring some perspective and some clarity. And just like it aims to bring psychological literacy with all the elements that shape our minds and our behavior, spirituality is also an aspect that I think can use some literacy as well. In my life, I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to learn from different teachers and instructors on the topics of spirituality. And more than the learning or any reading or stories that I've been able to experience, I've had real life moments or episodes that connect a lot with this layer. So I will be sharing more about those in future videos, but I just wanted to share that I believe that there's a way to navigate this layer in your life, whether you believe in a particular religion, or whether you have been shaped in some belief system around spirituality. I think that this is something that you can make sense of in a modern way, so to speak. So basically, in the context of the way we approach spirituality and how it has been misunderstood for the most part recently, I have to say that spirituality can lead to a number of phenomena that distort our perceptions. For example, we often think about magical thinking. We also can think of spiritual bypassing, and also we are very familiar with the religious dogma. So all of these are very heavily distorted ways that are like influenced by what people refer to spirit or spirituality. And I believe that all of these really can create some resistance and definitely confusion when it comes to experiencing what spirituality or the layer of our soul is really about. So I just want to point out that those roadblocks and pitfalls are real. Spiritual bypassing, magical thinking, religious fanaticism, or falling into religious dogma, among many others. They're real, and I think you should be concerned with those, so that you can know how to prevent them and also how to spot them in others. So I believe that this is important for you to know about. So leaving aside the confusions and what it's not, then in the human experience, I believe that the best map that we have around spirituality comes around the theme of consciousness. I believe that consciousness has been studied already enough so that we can have evidence and we can somehow explore, and we have a way to interact and somehow just be aware of our consciousness in ways that is distinct from our mind and the way we think and everything else in our behavior, in our life, in our systems. So consciousness seems to be this space in which everything else takes place. Strictly speaking, as far as I understanding and as far as different belief systems and spiritual teachings go, consciousness itself is not spirit, but for the sake of the human experience, I think that this is a close enough of a container or of a space to get us to the spiritual arena. So consciousness is something that we can in many ways experience or observe through the states of consciousness. For example, we have a regular and ordinary state of consciousness. For example, this is the state of consciousness in which I am talking to you right now, and this is how I am recording this video. Then, for example, we have a sleeping state of consciousness when we go to bed and we dream, and there are these different phases in our sleep that are a different state of consciousness. And then, for example, we also have altered states of consciousness that this happens when we are under the effect of drugs or different chemicals that somehow alter our experience, the way our consciousness is somehow available to us, right? So the states of consciousness are a very, very crude guide in which you can start at least appreciating, okay, there's a difference, right? You're always there, right? But your consciousness goes through different kind of perceptions, and it can be altered, or it can go through different states. So that's something that can guide us. But overall, with different teachings or different ways of learning or training your mind, and different experiences or realizations and different growth processes that you go through, your overall consciousness also grows and develops. It's like anything else, just like your body. If you cultivate certain habits, and if you do exercise and you eat in a certain way, it will be in certain it will shape in certain ways, and if you stop those, then your body will take a different shape. The same with consciousness. So there are different elements that influence how consciousness really is experienced by us, and there are different maps or ways to, in a way, assess or appraise how are we doing in terms of consciousness. But this is something that is usually confused as ranking. And as we humans are a very hierarchical oriented species, we always think of status, and we are very prone to somehow compare ourselves with others. When we talk about different levels of consciousness, it's very easy for us to compare with gurus or teachers or masters or different just characters in our lives or throughout history that seem to possess this higher or elevated or enlightened state of consciousness, right? And while there are definitely parameters or factors that define the level of consciousness in someone, for the most part, this is not about you comparing yourself or ranking yourself with others, but about the access that you have to different levels of consciousness. So, for example, if you believe that the spirit is completely a myth, that it doesn't exist, you basically kind of put a ceiling on your consciousness at the level of reason. So the logic, the rational, and everything that you can see, all the material is, your consciousness will be directed to only this. And then that doesn't really prove or disproves anything. And obviously when you're open and you have, let's say, faith, or you go beyond reason, that doesn't prove by itself that there's something beyond reason or higher states of consciousness. But you can experience and you can access different states and levels of consciousness if you somehow allow yourself, and through different ways of learning and living, you get to somehow open yourself up for something that goes beyond reason, for example. So this is not a matter of ranking again, this is just a matter of basically making distinctions and differentiations. And just as, for example, different animals have the availability, let's say, through their senses to a certain degree of consciousness, us humans also have, different ways of expanding the way or range of consciousness opens up. So this is what I wanted to share about consciousness. I think that this is roughly a very useful frame in which you can navigate the realm of spirituality. And I think that it just can be useful for the most part. It can take out so many of the confusions and terminology about many religions or traditions, or maybe about things that you don't like or you don't really care about, but you can still find ways to experience consciousness, right? Even if you don't really feel attracted to spirituality of the layer of your soul, it's not something that naturally appeals to you. So regardless of how interested or open you are in terms of spirituality, I believe that it's fair to define two rough camps when it comes to all this field of spirituality and consciousness. And I think that there has always been this trend or this automatic association when it comes to spirituality, especially when we think about Eastern traditions, that spirituality is about enlightenment. It's about becoming this being with this level of consciousness that is just beyond this world, that transcends the physical and the human. And in many of these traditions, they also talk about the wheel of life and how you reincarnate, and when you become enlightened, then you stop coming as in human form, and because you reach enlightenment. Different there are different names for this, nirvana and all of that. But that's not what I would like to talk about, and this is not the core of the spirituality that I will be talking about in the Holy Human Project. But it's mostly about a different type of spirituality that is about bringing that consciousness and all these elements that are really transcendental, that go beyond the human indeed. But how about bringing those into the human experience? I believe that that is way more accessible, that is more practical. I think that that makes more sense, at least for me anyway. And not that I have anything against enlightenment. I think that is a very noble pursuit. It's something that I think we are all in some way working towards. But there's just, there's different ways of approach any topic, and spirituality is no exception. So the Holy Human Project will be mostly concerned with ways on which you can bring spirituality to your everyday life, to the 21st century. And so we can drop so many words or different approaches or frames that were built for different eras, and also that are not really about transcending the human experience, but mostly about how to enrich the human experience. And once you go into this type of spirituality, is all about basically embracing the ordinary and how the ordinary can bring this sense of equanimity. You basically reach a place in which you're not really constrained by all your judgments, points of view, and opinions, and you reach this stance of equanimity. You ideally reach a place of non-judgment. And so that's what happens when spirituality is really informing the way you think, the way you process things, the way you relate to life, the way you relate to others. You get to this non-judgmental place. And overall, just like most traditions do teach, and most spiritual texts or any other system, they also point to love. So that's something that we can get away with, not using any of the traditional systems. But when you aim for this equanimity, it's basically inevitable that you reach a place of love, something that connects you with others naturally, something that you can relate to, that sparks different elements such as compassion and other attitudes that just go beyond our ego and our ways of traditionally thinking, when we are only stuck in our minds and in our heads and the way we have lived or perceived life. So in this way, spirituality brings a different element, but when we approach that spirituality in our ordinary and everyday life, that just brings a different quality to our life. So I believe that love is usually like this major theme. We become more aligned with our hearts. We become a little, symbolic when it comes to figures of speech. And so this is what the Holy Human Project will be covering: how to somehow cultivate and bring into your life more of this, so that you can just understand a little better how to connect with that, and how can that just pretty much inform your thinking, your psychology, how you can maybe give yourself some grace, for example, when it comes to your story, and how you can also have this level of, let's say, drive or this fire inside from your soul when it comes to living your mission. So this is a very, very fascinating topic to me. It's very close to my heart. I believe that there's a lot of confusion around it, and I am so happy that I will be at least attempting to bring some clarity and perspective when it comes to it in the Holy Human Project. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Just keep in mind that nothing in this topic or any others is really set in stone. Most of what I share in the Holy Human Project are basically heuristics, are just ways that I have found to be useful for me, but also in others. And I have collected different notes from books and different systems that I am trying to share and somehow maybe simplify, so that others can also have this understanding that has helped me to put together different elements of life. So that's all I have for this video today. And remember that if you find all of this related to your journey or your learning and you resonate with this, feel free to like and subscribe. That goes a long way, especially right now that I am just getting started with this channel. So and also feel free also to reach out and connect, comment, and I publish content on Substack as well. And I will always be sharing different resources on the description beneath each video that you can check if you're interested, so you can sign up for different resources, or you can access different materials that I will be creating around the Holy Human Project. So again, feel free to reach out and connect, and hopefully we can keep this going for a very long time. So I wish you all the best, and let me know if any of this is making sense for you or somehow resonating. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.